welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being here. It means a lot to have you all here. Thank you for leaving your comments down in the comment box. And today I am going to share a very personal story. This is a story, or this is real life. This is something that happened to me when I was young, when I was growing up. Like I said earlier, I'm going to be sharing my life stories with you guys. There's some interesting parts, there's some normal parts, there's some sad parts. And today I have decided to begin with the sad ordeals, or the sad parts. Now, growing up for me was quite a normal, childhood experience. No major things happening, just a normal lifestyle. I am the firstborn in a family of two. That's me and my younger sister. So when I was born, being the firstborn, my mom was quite young. And what happened is, 5 years after I was born, my mom had to advance in her career, which required her to travel to another part of the country, namely Mombasa, for study. And this happened abruptly, because they told her in the company that she needed to advance or go for this, attend these courses, classes. So she made a decision to take me back to her upcountry, or to my grandmother's place. This was okay with me because the countryside is quite interesting. Very interesting if you think about it. If you've ever been to the countryside, or you've grown up or stayed even for a couple of days in the countryside, it's fresh air, it's fields, it's there's lots of adventures there. So despite the fact that I was very young, I had fun, because African families, and my family for that matter, is a very, very large family. So we had, of course, my grandmother and my grandfather, and we had cousins. I had so many cousins, so many aunties, so many uncles, and people who literally showed up as visitors every other day. And so that meant that every day was a different experience for me. So I enrolled in school called St. Joseph's. This is in Elburgon, Nakuru. And it was quite far. The school was quite a distance. We had to walk a long way to get to school. Of course, this was not a problem then, because there was many of us from the homestead, my grandfather's homestead, that went to the same school. So that meant we had adventures going to school, coming back home, and so we didn't even notice the distance then. Now, there are times when, of course, we didn't have goodies. Like, for example, kids love candy, kids love fruits, kids love bread. Was a very, very special commodity then. So when my aunties came to visit, I was so excited. Personally, I was like so jumpy, up and down, going like, yay! There's bread, there's the oranges, and so many other things that I'm so interested. I don't get to see every day. So I remember this one time my auntie came to visit, and she had brought some oranges. And me being a kid, I thought, how about I steal an orange? Because I know I will not get a whole one if they start giving it out. So I stole a whole orange, hid under my grandmother's bed, and started eating, literally just like, you know. And it was quite funny because, of course, an orange is not odorless, it's gonna smell. So my auntie detected, and she was like looking all over, and she found me under the bed. I remember she used a torch, and I was like there just, you know, gazing. She pulled me out and told me, sit here, who has told you that you're not gonna get you know, stop being greedy, blah blah blah. That was okay for me anyway. She let me eat the whole thing by myself. By myself. You know. And there were, you know, we had, Saturday was our main day to go to the farm and do our laundry and help out, you know, at home with, you know, everything that had to be done. And it was me helping my grandmother, my cousins as well would come and assist us. And Sunday would be our main day to go to church. The church also was way far, that we would go to church, attend the service, have some lunch in the city, and then walk back home, get home by evening, start preparing dinner. Well, not me, my grandmother used to do that. But I also, like, we had interesting adventures, like going to pick berries in the forest and collecting firewood, going to fetch water, and so many other things that were so interesting. We didn't have any sheep or cows by that time, but my grandmother had some chicken. Yes, and we didn't eat this chicken for some reason. I don't know why. She never used to slaughter them for us, or I don't know why. It was just like, we have chicken. And just trying to remember, like, one of those interesting things I did. Okay, this was not interesting, this was really, really bad. I did two. First one was, I thought that if I threw chick into the fire, that it wouldn't catch fire. I don't know why I thought that. And it came out so naked, like, I feel sorry. I feel sorry, and that was just being stupid, growing up and everything. But my cousin was really, really naughty, and I remember one time he did something very wrong. I don't even know if it's right to say it here, because animal rights people might come in and pick me up or something. There I was, embracing life, just living a day as it came. And my mom used to look after us, or look after me, because she would send my upkeep money to my grandmother. Usually we had a full house, and when I say a full house, means there was always someone visiting, which was really good. And my grandmother treated me like this little princess of hers, which was, of course, something that I loved and enjoyed. Now, I'm sure you're wondering which is a sad part to this story, and here it is. So, my mom's brother, he's my mom's younger brother, worked as an administration police. And I think once a year, he would get 30 days leave, or maybe twice a year, 15 days and 15 days. So he would come home and spend most of his leave days at home, because I think that time he was either just getting to know his wife or something, the woman that he got married to, at least for some time. So this one particular time, this was the first incident that happened. He came home, and we had just harvested maize. So me and my grandmother on a Saturday afternoon were just like preparing the maize, and he came to join us. He was assisting us as well. And he asked me, because he had this cube a hut, we call them huts. He had a hut at the corner of the homestead. So he asked me to go to his hut or house, I don't even know. and get him some. He asked me to go and get him a matchbox on the table. So as a small child, this was like me at probably 6 years old, going on to 7 or somewhere there. It's something I don't like really remember properly. But so he sent me, and I stood up, ran, but he knew very well that he didn't have any matchbox there. So when I yelled or said, I can't find them, he said, look properly. And he followed me to come and show me where they are. But instead, he grabbed me, took off my underwear, and forced himself on me. Of course, I didn't know what was going on. In fact, I thought, because our homestead was quite huge and we had this latrine, or it's a toilet, but it's a pit latrine that we had at the very far end of the compound, or the homestead. So I thought that he didn't want to go to the toilet, and because I had a hole, he was peeing in me so that I could go and pee for him. I didn't consider it rape. I didn't know what rape was. And being a police, he always brought his gun home with him. So he told me, if you tell anybody that this happened, I'm going to shoot you. Of course, I didn't even know what shooting means. I thought maybe shooting meant he would shoot me, I would fall asleep or faint for some time and then come back again. I didn't understand. So he told me, never ever tell anyone. And if you don't tell anyone, I'm going to be bringing you candy. And I thought, big deal. You just peed in me. I'm just going to go pee for you. I mean, come on. But that happened continuously. Time again, over and over again. He did the same thing to me, and I didn't know what was going on. Of course, I felt the pain, and one of the ways that I fought back, I remember this one time I was like in so much pain. I wondered, why is he doing this to me? And I went to the kitchen, which was also a separate place, took a piece of wood that was, piece of wood that was on fire, and I touched up his house, because his house, the roofing was made of grass, dry grass. Touched it up, and it caught fire, and people, like my grandma was like screaming, what's going on? And those days, and the way the situation was handled that time was, I was scolded, and actually I was beaten up for touching up his house. But if something like that happened and my daughter did something like that, I would ask myself, why is this happening? Why is she doing that? Why is she behaving like this? And that's where parents, I would say, went wrong, because they never really wanted. They just took the thing as this child is just being mannerless, and I was punished for that. So I kept quiet even more. I didn't share with anybody what was going on. So like I said, this happened continuously, and I didn't tell anyone until I turned, I think, 31 or 30. I'm going to get the details properly, but that's when I opened up and told somebody. I had mentioned it earlier to someone, but I didn't even say it was me. I said, another girl. This is what happened to another girl, And I remember, I think I told my mom after I was 30, over 30, that's when I told my mother. So he would come, take my underwear off, give me goodies first, take my underwear off, lie down on me with his whole huge body and everything, and he would, you know what I mean. And so he'd be like, wipe yourself, or he would wipe me. But this went on for such a long time. This is such a sad thing that made me, or affected me, has been, and now I'm okay to talk about it. I mean, I'm okay to talk about it, even though it still makes me sad and I feel like I want to cry and everything. But I know how to control myself now better than before. because I wouldn't talk about it before. I would cry instead. I would be so bitter, and that's why I take care of my daughters. So, like I do not want to imagine anything like that can happen to them. You know, so I'm not gonna go further into this today, but yeah, I needed to share this out with you. I will continue in the coming days to share more and more, and how I got over this in my childhood, and all the way up to now. I'll put everything together in short stories until now, currently. Yeah, I'm trying so hard not to get emotional over this. So thank you for watching and subscribing to my channel. Thank you for your comments. Don't forget to leave your comments down there. And parents, please look after your children. Be careful. Things happen out there, and of course we don't want them to happen to our children. Stay tuned for more. I will be posting more videos, more stories, more, but this is the saddest one, so we don't worry, we don't have any more very sad stories coming up. We have all different kinds. So until next time, goodbye, and thank you for subscribing.